Okay, so I've been trying to do videos, and so I just want to show you what I've learned in the last month, and hopefully some of you have some really good ideas you can share back with me. But I just want to show you the tools I've been using to create videos. You know, we out here, we need to make video content. So my goal was to create some videos that I can then put into our website and then have an investor learning center where, you know, landlords will come and they can, you know, see what we do, ask questions, that kind of stuff. So this is kind of what this is what started all this, is I need to make content. So anyways, here is what I've learned in a month. I basically just started with my camera and was starting to record stuff. I hate myself on camera, so this is how far I've come. I guess I'm willing to do this. So the first thing I actually did is I learned HeyGen, which is a tool that actually creates AI videos. Honestly, they're really bad. Like here's one that is pretty awful. So it has an intro, you can create all that inside there, and then it is a AI generated version of me.
I'm with Real Property Management DC Metro. If you own or are thinking about renting out a property in
and so they worked. I probably did 10 or 12 of those. And again, it got me comfortable making the videos, got me kind of used to posting on YouTube. And then I've just gotten a little bit better after watching a lot of other people's YouTube videos of just hit record, upload, nobody's watching, right? Is kind of my thing I keep thinking. And as I've uploaded, you know, these something like 85 videos, some of these are 4 years old, but like, you know, 53 views, that's an AI one, 4 views, 6 views, you know, the highest one I think that is actually me is like 53 views. So like nobody's really paying attention to these. So the idea is just hit record. And then I think I've improved. There's still a lot of things I got to improve, like stop saying but, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'll show you how I kind of fix that too. So the first thing I've done is I just hit record. The next thing I learned on YouTube is thumbnails are important. And so I used Perplexity and just went in there and said, hey, I said, go to my YouTube channel and create me 3 different thumbnails for each video I've made. You know, gave them some specific information that I had gotten from actually Perplexity to tell me what to ask, and I sent it to the computer. So then it generated all of these thumbnails for me. And some of them are great, some of them worked fine. And then as I keep making videos, I realized that, you know, this costs me money to have these made. You know, there's some expense here, not crazy. So then I learned how to use Canva, and I can drag and drop one in, and then I can add a text block, and I can create new ones based on some of my stuff. And so I did this one for reviews. I've done this for all these things. So now I'm working with how to make better thumbnails. Next thing I kind of learned is to test these thumbnails. So if you go in here, that's not what I want.
On the outside,
manage videos. If you go into the videos, so A and B testing, you know, kind of see which one's actually doing better. Put that test in there. You can edit, update thumbnails here, create playlists, all that kind of stuff. When you have your end screen, you know, you have where they point, you know, subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff, which I think a lot of us probably know. But anyways, so that's kind of my evolution of learning how to make videos, uploading videos, that kind of stuff. And I'm still getting better at what I should be doing inside of here with, you know, adding chapters and tags and keywords, all that kind of stuff. But so then make thumbnails, go here. Another tool I use is, say I'm doing like just a video of a property. I then want to add voiceover. So I use ElevenLabs. I can just create a script, paste that in here, and then it'll generate an AI video of me. This one actually was a little bit interesting. I had to record my voice by reading the screen for probably about an hour. So it was a little bit more than I anticipated, but I got up one night at 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. So I just sat down here in my office and just read their prompts and read books and just kept recording my voice. And this one actually sounds a lot more like me compared to the HeyGens that are not as good. You know, I've done quite a few of these on the HeyGen. They're pretty simple. You do a quick recording of yourself, read a screen, and then within 2 minutes, it'll create a AI version of you. Again, ElevenLabs is much better. It sounds more like me, in my opinion. And then the next thing I've done is I definitely use iMovie, you know, to drop them in, to put titles, that kind of stuff. You know, add all this kind of stuff. And then the system actually you see right up here that I'm actually using this for right now. Probably my favorite one. It's Timebolt, and so I can do screen recording like this. Also, what it's really, really good for is I can take a video that I just record. Say I'm outside just doing a recording of, you know, what the spring market's like in DC. And I keep adding and buts, and I stop and I kind of restart. You can take that whole video, drag it, drop it into, and then Timebolt will actually go through and erase errors, and it'll speed it up and get rid of the delays and all the overthinking and me thing. So I'm actually gonna take this when I'm done and put this into Timebolt, and it'll create a little bit better video. Like the last one I did was like a 40-minute video, and it shortened it down to, it was like 32 minutes. So it improved it a ton. And then the other one that I use, let's see, that might be everything here. All right, so yeah, and then the key is once you're done, you then upload it, save it, and then post it to YouTube and get it out there. Now, the last thing I really found that my newest thing I found the other day is all those little short clips. Like I try to do a lot of shorts, and so a lot of these I'm just kind of recording, myself talking, and then put in the, the text overlays, that kind of stuff. You can do music in the background, and some of these work great. Getting 1,000 views, that kind of stuff, whatever. And then you cheat and put something like your dog in there, you get 2,600 views. I still want it to be property management specific. I guess I'm supposed to do some personal stuff. But the one thing I learned now is if I use HeyGen, I can actually take a full 30-minute video and drop it into here, and it'll do instant highlights. So like this was a 30-minute video that I put into here, and then it created me, however many this is, videos that are about 38 seconds to a minute long, that I now can use these to make YouTube shorts. So it's actually talking about what I'm working on, and it's saving me a lot of time. I can actually also clean these up. I can put these on Facebook, Instagram. They're all the 16:9, I think is what it is. But they're all there, simple. And so I can just drag them, drop them, add a little bit of information. And so it's taking a lot of work out of that I actually just hired an SEO company to do our Facebook and Instagram. And I'm realizing I could probably do it with this. I'm hoping they'll do better graphics and some other stuff for me, so I'll keep using them. And I'll kind of just do this on top of what they're doing. But that's just kind of the stuff I've learned in the last month of doing this. It's been very interesting. This is kind of all I think about. I get up and do a lot of these videos at 2, 3 in the morning. Some of them I do, this is a good video.
Do you struggle with how many keys you have? Are you a property manager, a landlord? Maybe you feel like you're giving tenants way too many keys. You can rekey a house.
And so like this video is actually done well, 61 views, which is like, I'm famous, I think, because of it. But just how we do our mastering and quick set using that kind of stuff. But the funny thing is just doing the videos, I'm getting more comfortable with it. I actually enjoy it. Like I said, I think about it a lot. But I believe this is going to add value, and everything I keep watching on YouTube is it's not about getting 1 million subscribers. It's about getting those 10 or 20 DC landlords, Maryland investors that find this channel and start watching some of the videos. And then when they call us, they know us. All the stuff we've been talked to about by Rent Scale and by what corporate says. Anyways, so if you have any good ideas you can share with me, I would love them. Again, I've learned a ton in a month just on how to make this a little bit better and clean stuff up. And I know there's other things I can do better. My videos are getting better. I'm getting more comfortable. Obviously, because I'm sending this to you guys, which is not normal for me. So just trying to help out. Please, if you have other tips or tricks, share them with me. But again, my favorite one is just making the video, getting good thumbnails, and then actually taking your long form, like if you do podcast style. And this is how a lot of podcasters are getting stuff on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, is they're just taking that one conversation they had, dropping it into a system like this. And I'm sure there's better systems actually than HeyGen. And then it breaks it up into these highlights that now you have a month's worth of content I can share. When one of these hits, and maybe one of these is actually fantastic and gets like 1,000 views, something crazy, then people will go back and they're going to actually look for the long form of this. And so hopefully that video that this is will actually get a lot more views because of one of these eventually might be really good information that somebody actually cares about. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Please share what you guys do. Like, subscribe, I guess.